There's a quiet lie sitting at the center of how most people think about their health savings account. It doesn't scream. It doesn't look dangerous. In fact, it often comes dressed as guidance, responsible, even helpful. But once you see it clearly, you won't be able to unsee it. Before we continue, if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, this would be a really good time to do it. I've got a lot more of these waiting for you. The real question isn't whether you should be contributing to your HSA. It's whether the way you're using it right now is quietly costing you tens of thousands of dollars you'll never get back. Let me say that again, because I want it to land. The HSA may be the most misunderstood account in the entire American financial system. People treat it like a checking account for medical bills. They put money in. They swipe the card at the pharmacy. They pay for a doctor visit. They use it for glasses, dental, the copay, the prescription. And on the surface, that feels responsible. That feels smart. That feels like exactly what an HSA is for. But here's the thing. That approach, the one that feels the most natural, may be the single most expensive thing you can do with this account. Because the HSA wasn't really designed to be a spending account. It was designed to be something else entirely. Something the people who built it understood very, very well. And once you understand it the way they do, your entire retirement picture starts to look different. It stops being a small account on the side and starts becoming one of the most important pieces of the entire puzzle. So let's slow down. Let's actually talk about what this account really is. Because I think most people have been told a version of the truth that leaves out the most powerful part. An HSA, a health savings account, is the only account in the entire United States tax code that gives you 3 tax benefits at the same time. Not 1, not 2, 3. The money goes in tax-free. The money grows tax-free, and when you pull it out for qualified medical expenses, it comes out tax-free. There is no other account that does this. Not a 401k, not a Roth IRA, not a traditional IRA, not a brokerage account, nothing. Think about that for a second. Let that sink in. You have access to an account that the IRS basically does not touch at any stage of its life. And most people are using it like a debit card. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to imagine 2 people, same age, same income, same family, same medical needs, same everything. They both have an HSA. They both contribute the family maximum every year. They both have decent jobs and steady paychecks. From the outside, you would never be able to tell them apart. Let's call the first one Diane. Diane is 45. She's smart. She's responsible. She's the kind of person who pays bills on time and always has a backup plan. Diane uses her HSA the way most people do. When her son needs braces, she pays from the HSA. When she gets a prescription, she swipes the HSA card. When she goes to the dentist, she uses the HSA. To Diane, this feels like the obvious thing. The account is for health. The expenses are for health. The math feels clean. She sleeps fine at night. Now let's meet the second one. Let's call him Mark. Mark is also 45. Same income, same family, same medical bills, but Mark does something different. Mark pays his medical bills out of his regular checking account, out of his paycheck. He still saves every receipt. He still tracks every dollar, but he never touches the HSA. He lets the HSA money sit there. And more importantly, he invests it. He puts it into low-cost index funds inside the HSA, and he leaves it alone. Now here's where it gets real. 20 years go by. Diane and Mark are both 65. Diane's HSA has a few $1,000s in it because every time it built up, she spent it. The account did its job. It paid for the things she needed. No complaints. Mark's HSA? Mark's HSA has well over $150,000 in it. Some calculations put it closer to $200,000, depending on the market. And every single dollar of that growth was tax-free. Not tax-deferred. Tax-free. And here's the part that hurts. Mark can now reach back into the past, pull out those 20 years of medical receipts he saved, and reimburse himself, tax-free, for every single one. Decades later, the IRS doesn't care when you reimburse yourself for a qualified medical expense, as long as the expense happened after you opened the HSA. That receipt from 2014? Still valid. That dental bill from 2019? Still valid. That copay from last March? Still valid. That's the strategy. That's the quiet thing nobody told you. The HSA isn't really a spending account. It's a stealth retirement account wearing a medical disguise. Here's a question. If you had to choose between using your HSA now or letting it grow into something life-changing later, which would it be? Keep that in your head as we go. Now I know what you might be thinking. You might be thinking, that sounds great, but I actually need the money for medical bills right now. I can't just float thousands of dollars out of pocket. And I hear you. That's a real concern. But I want to challenge the assumption underneath it. Think of your HSA like the foundation of your house. Strong, underground, invisible, but holding everything up. Most people treat it like the furniture. They use it. They wear it down. They cycle it. Nice to have, comfortable, but it sits on top of nothing because they keep draining the foundation to refill the furniture. The people who understand this account treat it like the foundation it was meant to be. They build it. They protect it. They let it carry weight quietly underneath everything else. And here's the part most people miss. The money you pay out of pocket for medical bills, the money you don't reimburse yourself for today, doesn't disappear. It just waits. Every receipt you keep is a future tax-free withdrawal. You are essentially creating a personal bank of tax-free dollars that you can access at any age, for any reason, as long as the receipt is valid. Let me give you an analogy that I think makes this click. Imagine your benefit, like a faucet. Behind that faucet is a pipe, one you've been filling your entire working life. Every contribution, every dollar of growth, it all builds pressure in that pipe. Now here's how it works. The longer you wait to turn the faucet on, the stronger the pressure becomes. Wait until 65. The flow is powerful. Open it at 35. The flow is barely a trickle. But here's the part most people don't think about. That faucet belongs to you. You paid into it. And if you turn it on too early for things you could have paid out of pocket, some of that water never reaches its full potential. It just runs out before it ever got the chance to grow. Now let me be honest with you, because I don't want to pretend this is easy for everyone. Some people genuinely can't pay out of pocket. Some people are stretched. Some people have medical bills that would crush them without the HSA card. That's real. That's life. If you're in that situation, use the HSA. Don't feel guilty. The account is doing its job. But if you can afford to pay out of pocket, even sometimes, even partially, you are leaving an enormous amount of tax-free growth on the table. Let me ask you something. Do you know what your monthly income will actually look like when you retire? Be honest with yourself. Because the HSA, used the right way, can be one of the most powerful pieces of that monthly income picture. People don't talk about it that way, but they should. Here's why. When you hit 65, your HSA changes. The rules shift in your favor. Before 65, if you pull money out for something that isn't a qualified medical expense, you pay income tax plus a 20% penalty. That's harsh on purpose. The government doesn't want you rating it. But once you turn 65, that penalty disappears. The HSA basically becomes a traditional IRA at that point. You can pull money out for anything, a vacation, a car, a roof repair, a grandkid's wedding, and you'll just pay regular income tax, the same as you would with a 401k withdrawal. No penalty, no drama. So at minimum, your HSA in retirement works as well as a traditional retirement account. But for medical expenses, and there will be medical expenses, it stays tax-free forever. And here's something nobody talks about. The average couple retiring today will spend somewhere north of $300,000 on healthcare in retirement. That's not counting long-term care. That's just normal stuff. Medicare premiums, prescriptions, dental, vision, hearing aids. The dozen little things that quietly chip away at your savings. $300,000. So if you've built up a healthy HSA over the years, you've essentially pre-funded a massive chunk of your retirement healthcare costs with tax-free money. That's not a small win. That's a life-changing win. Imagine walking onto a car lot. Every vehicle has a sticker price. Bold, official, intimidating. It looks final, non-negotiable. But if you've ever bought a car, you already know the truth. Nobody pays the sticker. There are hidden discounts, dealer incentives, timing advantages, negotiation room. The real price is almost always lower. But the sticker exists to anchor your expectations, to make you feel like anything below it is a win, even if you're still overpaying. Now take that exact same system and apply it to healthcare and retirement. $300,000 in lifetime medical costs, that's your sticker price. The HSA is your negotiation, your discount, your hidden lever, and most people walk right past it. Quick pause. If you're new here, hit subscribe. I've got a lot more of these waiting for you. I want this stuff to land for as many people as possible because honestly, the cost of not knowing it is too high. Now let's talk about who can even do this. Because here's a small but important detail. To contribute to an HSA, you have to be enrolled in what's called a high-deductible health plan. It's a specific type of insurance, usually with lower monthly premiums, but a higher amount you have to pay before insurance kicks in. For some families, that's a great fit. For others, it's not. If you have a lot of medical needs, if you've got young kids constantly at the pediatrician, if you have chronic conditions, a high-deductible plan might not be the right call. And that's okay. The HSA strategy is powerful, but it's not the only path. Your health comes first. Always. But if a high deductible plan does work for you, the math gets very interesting very fast. An individual can contribute a few $1,000s a year to an HSA. A family can contribute over $8,000. And if you're 55 or older, you get an extra $1,000 a year as a catch-up contribution. Now imagine doing the Family Max for 20 years, invested in a basic index fund, growing tax-free. We're talking about a six-figure account, sometimes well into the mid-six figures, depending on returns. All of it tax-free for medical use. All of it usable for anything after 65. I want you to imagine your retirement in two parts. Not one big number, two distinct piles. Pile 1, income that shows up no matter what. Social Security, pensions, rental income. Money that continues whether the market is up or down. Pile 2, your savings, your investments, your accounts. Now, here's the critical mistake most people make. They focus almost entirely on Pile 2, while barely acknowledging Pile 1. And inside Pile 2, they treat every dollar the same. $1 in a 401k, $1 in an IRA, $1 in an HSA. But those dollars are not the same. The HSA dollar is the most valuable dollar you own. It is the only one that can come out completely tax-free. And yet most people spend it first. Here's the thing. Most people are being told they are behind when they're not. They're being told their 401k isn't big enough, their savings rate isn't high enough, their nest egg isn't growing fast enough. But almost nobody is being told the truth about what they already have. You may already have what people with millions are searching for, and they, a tax-advantaged, triple-protected, decades-long compounding vehicle sitting right there in your benefits package. And you're using it for Band-Aids. Let me ask you this. If you could go back 10 years, what would you do differently with your retirement planning? For a lot of folks, this is the answer. This is the thing they wish someone had pulled them aside and explained. Not in a lecture, not in a brochure, just in a real conversation, the kind you'd have with a friend over coffee, where someone tells you the thing nobody told them. So let's talk about how inflation plays into this, because this is where it gets even more interesting. Inflation silently erodes the value of every dollar you save. The cash you have today buys less 5 years from now, less 10 years from now, dramatically less 20 years from now. And the one place where inflation hits the hardest, the one place where prices rise faster than almost anywhere else in the economy, is healthcare. Medical costs have outpaced general inflation for decades. So if you're saving cash for future medical expenses, you're slowly losing the race. But if you're letting your HSA grow, invested in the market, compounding tax-free, you're matching or beating that healthcare inflation curve. You're not just keeping pace, you're getting ahead. Invisibly, steadily, year after year, the HSA is doing something almost no other account can do. It's specifically designed to outrun the exact kind of inflation that will hurt you the most in retirement. That is not an accident. That is the design. Now let me address the elephant in the room, the receipts. Because the strategy I described, the one where you pay out of pocket now and reimburse yourself later, depends on you keeping records. And a lot of people hear that and immediately think, I'm never going to do that. I lose receipts. I lose mail. I lose track of my own birthday. And I get it. So let me make it simple. You don't need to keep paper. You need to keep proof. A photo of the receipt, a PDF of the bill, a folder in your email, a folder on your phone, a folder on your computer. Something. Anything. The IRS doesn't care about the format. They just want to be able to verify that the expense was qualified, that it happened after the HSA was opened, and that you didn't already get reimbursed for it some other way. I tell people to create one folder. Just one. Label it HSA receipts. Drop everything in. Every doctor visit, every prescription, every copay, every glasses fitting, every dental cleaning, even small ones, especially small ones, because they add up. $20 here, $50 there, $200 somewhere else. Over 20 years, that's tens of thousands of dollars in tax-free withdrawals you've banked up for the future. And if you never need them, fine. You're 65, the penalty's gone, and you just pull the money out and pay normal income tax like a 401k. Worst case scenario, you use the best retirement account in America, like a slightly worse retirement account. That's not a bad worst case. Here's a question for the married folks. Have you and your spouse ever actually talked about what happens to the HSA if one of you is gone? Because the rules here matter. If your spouse is the beneficiary, the HSA transfers directly to them and keeps its full status. They can use it the same way, but if anyone else is the beneficiary, a child, a sibling, a friend, the account gets fully taxed as income in the year you pass. The whole balance. all at once. So this is one of those small details that's worth a 5-minute conversation. 5 minutes. And it could save your family a serious tax bill down the line. You are not behind. In fact, you may already be standing on one of the strongest financial foundations available today. The HSA is sitting there, in plain sight, waiting for you to use it the way it was designed. Not as a debit card, as a long-term wealth tool, as a piece of your retirement income plan, as a hedge against the one expense you absolutely cannot avoid as you age. It's not pessimism, it's realism. And in this case, realism isn't negative. It's empowering, because once you see how this account is supposed to work, you stop feeling small about your finances. You stop feeling like you missed the boat. You start to realize the boat has been sitting in your driveway the entire time, and you just didn't know how to start the engine. Let me ask you, have you ever calculated what your HSA could actually be worth in 20 years if you stopped spending from it today? Most people never do. And the number, when they see it, tends to change the way they think about everything. Run the math, even roughly. Take the amount you can contribute, multiply it by 20 or 30 years, add in a reasonable rate of growth, and look at that final number. That's the number nobody is telling you about. That's the number sitting in your benefits paperwork that you walked past every open enrollment season. There's another piece I want to mention because it doesn't get talked about enough. Your HSA is portable. It belongs to you, not your employer. If you change jobs, the HSA comes with you. If you retire early, the HSA comes with you. If you decide to start a business and walk away from corporate life altogether, the HSA comes with you. That is rare. That is valuable. Most workplace benefits vanish the second you walk out the door. Not this one. This one is yours, forever, no matter what. And one more thing. If you don't love your current HSA provider, if the fees are high or the investment options are weak, you can move the money. You can transfer it to a different HSA custodian with better options. People don't realize this. They get locked into whatever their employer offers and assume that's the only choice. It's not. You can shop for an HSA the same way you shop for a brokerage account. Lower fees, better funds, more control. The money still keeps every single one of its tax advantages during the transfer. It's your money. Treat it that way. So here's what I want you to do. Take this home with you. First, look at your HSA right now. Not as a checking account, as an investment account. Most HSA providers let you invest the money once you cross a certain threshold, usually $1,000 or $2,000. If you've never logged in to do this, log in this week. Move the money out of the cash position. Get it into low-cost index funds. Let it work for you. Second, start a simple receipt habit. One folder, one phone, one place. Snap a picture. Drop it in. Move on with your life. You don't need a complicated system. You just need a consistent one. Third, if you can pay out of pocket for medical expenses now, do it. Even partially. Even half. Every dollar you don't pull out of the HSA today is a dollar that gets to compound for decades. And fourth, contribute as much as you can to the annual max. Even if you can't hit the full amount, get close. Every dollar matters. Every dollar is triple tax advantaged. There is no better place to put a savings dollar in the entire tax code. It's not about who has more saved. It's about who has more certainty. And the HSA, used properly, is one of the most certain things you can build into your future. Tax-free in, tax-free growth, tax-free out for medical, and tax equivalent to a 401k after 65 for anything else. There is no downside scenario where this account hurts you. There is only a spectrum of how much it helps you, and that depends entirely on how you use it. You don't need perfection to have a successful retirement. You don't need to get everything exactly right. What you need is awareness, clarity, and the willingness to face the real numbers so you can make real decisions. Because when you understand your income, when you understand your expenses, when you understand how a single account like an HSA can quietly add $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 of tax-free value to your retirement, something changes. You feel more in control, more confident, more at ease. And that's what retirement should feel like. Stop measuring yourself against everyone else. Stop feeling behind and start focusing on what truly gives you freedom. The HSA isn't a small thing. It isn't a side account. It isn't a place to park a few $100s for the next doctor visit. It is one of the most powerful retirement tools you will ever have access to in your entire life, and you may already have one. You may already be 10 years in. You may already have contributed more than you realize. Go look. Open the account. See what's there, and then start using it the way it was designed. Numbers matter, but how you feel about those numbers, that matters just as much. And the difference between feeling anxious about retirement and feeling ready for it often comes down to choices like this one. Small, quiet, almost boring decisions that compound into something extraordinary over time. The HSA is one of those decisions. It doesn't shout. It doesn't sparkle. It just sits there, quietly, doing the most powerful work in your financial life if you let it. If the system only rewards you with almost enough, you will spend your entire life chasing more. But if you understand your numbers, if you build your income, if you use the tools that already exist around you the way they were designed to be used, you don't chase anymore. You decide, and that's the shift. From fear to clarity, from chasing to choosing, from not enough to enough. If this video made you think differently about your HSA and your retirement, subscribe. The next one goes even deeper. I'll see you there.